What was supposed to be a fun trip turned into a travel nightmare. A group of O'Gorman freshmen were on a trip to New York and Washington, D.C. to tour museums and see Broadway. But the blue screens that impacted everybody's lives after the Crowdstrike outage made their trip back to South Dakota a lengthy one. Photojournalist Sam Tastad shares the story with us tonight.
The actual planned part of the trip was phenomenal. Great to see our nation's capital in New York City. But then getting home was a little bit of an adventure.
It was like 1 a.m. before we got any new information. And around that time, they were telling us the next flight we'd be able to get was in 3 days.
And you can see in the background of a lot of their pictures that just the recovery screen that was on all the monitors.
A lot of us were playing like games. A lot of people were playing like heads up, like it's like charades. And we also had this like rugby ball that a lot of people were playing pass with. But around 1 a.m. everyone was getting pretty tired, and a lot of the chaperones went and they bought us blankets. And me and Penelope were still really high on energy, and we were like running around the airport, and she was like trying to stay in her seat and like maybe try and fall asleep, and like we'd come back like laughing, and she was like, just go to bed.
I actually work in healthcare IT, and so I was well aware of what was going on with Crowdstrike. I didn't necessarily anticipate what we experienced once we got to Atlanta, though. There were so many canceled and delayed flights. There were people everywhere. The number of people sleeping in that airport Saturday night into Sunday was just nothing we had ever seen.
They ended up trying to get a bus, and they told us it was going to be there at 11:30, and it didn't show up, and they told us next it was going to be there at 2:30, and it didn't show up again. And then at 4:30, they were like, okay, this is the last time it's gonna be here. So we all got up and we like went out to go wait for it, and it didn't come. So we were in the airport for a little longer, but then we got a hotel for the night, and we woke up at 5 a.m. to get on the bus that was actually there this time.
When we got out to the bus that morning, it said traveling with God's grace, and we definitely were appreciative to have a way to get home.
It was definitely texting a lot, pulling up Life 360 a lot.
Like just getting off the bus, like see your parents standing there, and it was just good to be home and off a bus. That was a really long bus ride.